How is everyone doing today? It is August 6th of 2024 and a really exciting, unique couple peppers actually to show you. This video is going to be one on one we call the Odius Blue. First, let me explain to you, it is a cross, so you won't see this video probably anywhere else. But a lot of the reasons that we make videos is to see something unique, and sometimes a rare, unique cross in the yard is what it takes. So this is the Odius Blue. What it is a cross between an Oda, this is an Oda right here, and I don't have the Filius Blue pepper in the yard, but I do have one that is pretty similar. This one right here is the Chinese 5 color. It is a very similar production of plant and look and everything else like that, and actually this little node right here kind of looks like a Filius Blue. So Filius Blue, instead of being conical, will kind of look like this. They will turn red, but they will be round, and instead of wedges on top like this is, they'll be just the round ones. The Filius Blue pepper is super rare in that it is one of the only varieties that loses heat. It does range between 30 and 50,000 Scoville units, but it does fluctuate in heat. Usually when it's underripe purple, it'll be about 50,000 Scoville units. When it ripens red, it usually loses about 20,000. Still pretty hot at 30,000 Scoville units. But imagine this one was the Filius Blue, and this one right here was the Oda, which is a sweet pepper. So the Filius Blue seeds that we saved had cross-pollinated with the Oda. That would make them the parental generation. This one would be the mother because it received the pollen that had come from an Oda pepper. Pepper flowers are, same with tomatoes, are self-pollinating. That means I got a flower right here. If I show you, there's that little stem thing on the end. Up in the little rim there, pollen will get kicked out when there's wind or something that knocks it around a little bit, that will go ahead and touch the very, very tip of that little node right there. Once that happens, the pollen falls out and touches the tip of that, it's pollinated. So it, even with a cluster garden, it can be really hard because the wind or anything knocking that around will knock the pollen out and touch that little tip and self-pollinate. But in the rare occasion that a pollinator or something does pull pollen from one pepper to the other, the pollen from the pepper would become the father, and the pepper that received the pollen would become the mother. This node right here, this plant right here, or the Filius Blue one that would be the mother, wouldn't have any noticeable difference in that generation, but once it put out seeds, that would be considered the F1 generation. The F1 generation, or the F stands for filial, it means firstborn, and then the seeds that were gotten from those, whatever came of those, would be the F2 generation. Now, the F2 generation is the most variety. So when I crossed, or when the Filius Blue crossed with the Oda, that first generation produced almost like Filius Blue pods on top that would be kind of round like this, but they were larger. And being a 30 to 50,000 Scoville unit pepper and a sweet pepper, we may lose a little bit of heat. So that's the parental generation, the F1 generation, and these ones were grown off the F2. And let me show you why I thought that was so unique. Look at this right here. That is a small pepper plant. You can see it's kind of pushing up to here now. But look at how that looks like cherries. And when those first come up, they look blackish like black cherries, really, really dark in color. Just a really cool pepper. And then this one right here, this one and this one came from the same seeds. That can show you how much variation can happen in the F2. Now, I would like to note that it could be a factor of when we were growing the F1 seeds, the F1 Odius Blue seeds. We're calling it Odius Blue because it's a cross between an Oda and a Filius Blue. And then we were calling this one Sunset, the Odius Blue Sunset, because it has a really kind of a sunset color, even though the original colors are really muted. We have pulled a ton off of this, and I'll show you some more of these when we get done. But I really, really am going to firsthand save seeds from these, and we want to be able to try both of them too. It can look cool, it can be productive, it can be a cool pepper in a lot of different ways, but if the flavor's not good on it or something wonky along those lines, we're more inclined to not want to continue to grow it. This one's actually lucky to make our yard because I do have a couple types that are crosses that happened in the yard that I've been trying to grow out, but at the tail end we were just kind of feeling like we didn't have a lot of unique in the yard. A lot of the types we've already grown, but we wanted to see a little bit more. So look at the difference on these. Look at that, looks like a cherry. And these ones are wedges. Those ones came off the small plant, and these ones came off the other plant. So what I was saying though is, even though they're F2 and there's the most variation, this might be a good example of how much difference you can get in that F2 generation. Now if I save seeds off of these and grow them out, they will more likely turn into this plant. There may be some little variations too, all the way up until you get into the maybe 5th to 8th generation. You can start getting smaller variations, but getting to that F2 is really, really cool because there was 2 different types. I was saying that there would be one caveat to that, and it could have been when we saved seeds from the Odius Blue cross, the F1 seeds, one of those pods may have been crossed once again, and then we had saved, and then basically what we'd be looking at is like an F1 version of the Odius Blue crossed with something else. But I'm pretty sure that these were from the same pod. I don't believe we saved very many of these seeds, and it would have been 1 or 2 pods. And so I thought that was really cool. The parental generation, the mother that got the pollen, would be one called the Filius Blue, which this isn't it. This is the Chinese 5 color, but a really similar structured plant. And this one right here is an example of the Oda pepper, which is one of our favorite sweet peppers, a nostalgic pepper we've grown in the yard for 8-9 years now. But once those seeds had crossed, that would be the firstborn generation, or the filial 1 generation. The filial 2 generation can have the most diversity, and this is a really, really good example of it. So the Odius Blue, if I remember right, isn't fantastic on color, but it does have a pretty cool plant. And then the Oda is one of our favorite sweet peppers. So it could turn out that this has a horrible flavor, but I was just noticing on the wedge version ones, and we will separate the cherry and the wedges, they really just kind of have a good sort of juice to them. So I'm hoping that this one, if it does have a good flavor, would make a good crushed powder. And I'm hoping if these ones have a decent flavor, I might even save seeds off of this one, even if they're not decent, because it just looks so amazing. I thought that was really cool. There was cherries, there was dark cherries on here, dark peppers on here that looked like cherries. And I had actually brought a black cherry that we had gotten from the store and come out and set it on there, and you couldn't tell the difference between it and the peppers. So I thought that was really cool. We're calling it the Odius Blue Sunset and the Odius Blue Cherry. Take these inside and we'll give them a quick little open up and taste for you. Hope this video didn't get too long, because I wanted to explain the difference in generations when peppers cross, and wanted to show this one, even though it's one nobody will really have heard of, because it's just a random unique cross in our yard. But really interesting stuff. The Odius Blue Sunset and Cherry. Take these inside and show you a little bit more. Love you guys, and catch you in a second. All right, August 6th of 2024, and this is the cross between the Filius Blue and the Oda. We have been calling the Odius Blue, and it is the F2 generation. So look at how different these 2 peppers look. Even the plants, this one was a lot more squat, but I think it was just crowded. Because if you noticed on the plant out there, this one had shoots that were coming up as tall as the other one. This one right here has been producing a horde. We've eaten probably 5 or 6 of these already, mostly the smaller ones, and we've been saving them right here. So let me show you. I'm really impressed with the way these are kind of drying so far. A lot of time these pungent or juicier peppers, once they get like this, can get a little bit harsh, but this one's only a few days and they're starting to wrinkle up a little bit. We don't really use a dehydrator or anything like that. What we kind of do is they just sit in front of our air conditioner, so they have constant air blowing on them, and just to also make sure that it doesn't kind of get rough in there, every once in a while we pull them out and kind of, or shake it around a little bit, so it's not like, so it kind of stays dry. I keep that in the air conditioner, but I thought that was cool. I saved those off there a few days ago, and they're already starting to dry pretty good. A little bit different than one that's called the Cherry Bomb, or some of those more thicker shelled smaller peppers, even jalapenos, that are a little bit hard to dry because they can just be so juicy that they kind of will rot in there before they'll actually dry out really, really good. Not all the time, but it's kind of a bummer if you open one of these up that are dried and it's, you know what I mean, the seeds in it ain't good. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a few of these. We'll probably go with the seed savers. These ones right here we'll probably use in something. These ones right here, all of these ones I want to save seeds off of, and these ones right here, I'll go ahead and keep this one out and this one out to go ahead and give them a test. So we don't have any milk or anything else ready. Gonna go ahead and just go into it raw. So a little bit nervous about this one, and just Angel said that these had a lot of heat on them. So this is the one I'm most excited for, is this one right here. Just because, I mean, look at that, that looks cool. Yeah, see this one right here? The seeds look like they're getting a little wonky. This one might not be a very good seed pod. We're going to be, instead of drying these, we're going to be opening them, all of these ones up, and so we'll be able to check if the seeds are good on these. But go ahead and... Most of the heat in peppers is stored in the placenta and the seeds. So if you're not a hot pepper person, or you're trying to make a video like that and it's really, really hard to kind of determine a flavor, one of the better things that you can do is go ahead and get as much of that placenta. See, I could even get more of that out. And it really, really cuts back on the heat to not have that. A lot of the capsaicin oil will stay inside of that placenta. Really, really red and juicy looking. Super scary. Ooh, that was sweet. I like that.
Sweet?
Mm-hmm.
Is it hot?
Mine wasn't hot, and I think it's because of the placenta. Now the cross, I am 99% sure was a Oda that had received pollen and been crossed, or Filius Blue that had received the Oda, because we believed that they were Oda seeds when we grew them out. Found out that they were crossed because the Filius Blue were turning up like Oda pods upright. That was, I like that little sweet little bit though. It might have had a little bit of zing, but not a lot. And one of the things I'm excited for is, even though the Filius Blue is a 30 to 50,000 Scoville unit heat, it's a unique one, like I was saying. Under ripe, they're about 50,000. Ripe, they're about 30,000. It's one of the rare peppers, the Filius Blue is, that'll de-escalate in heat. And I have a sneaky suspicion that the Chinese 5-color does so as well. So Chinese 5-color that's not red, that's any of the other colors, is usually hotter than the red ones. I've gotten that opinion from multiple people that have tried them. Get some placenta on that. That's really good.
Sweet. And it's not hot.
It reminded me of almost like a traditional zing flavor, like we were getting from one that we tried called the Cherry Bomb. You can tell it's not a cherry bomb, but it has almost that pungent, almost traditional pepper flavor is how I would describe it, maybe.
You want to try this one?
Angel's going to go ahead and open up this other one. I was a little surprised on how good that was. That wasn't too bad. And I didn't get any heat, but scraping out that placenta and getting it as far away from the top where the seeds are and stuff really, really helps dumb it down. It's sometimes the only way we can ever eat these. Me and Angel ain't fans of hot peppers that are raw like this. We get scorched. I ain't getting... It's not a lingering heat either. It was like almost like I tasted it a tiny bit, but then it's like it was almost non-existent right afterwards.
That piece was super sweet too, and it wasn't hot.
Like at all?
Uh-uh.
Something's up.
But just the end.
That could be really cool, because it would be nice to have a sweet pepper that
You want to try this piece?
yeah, I'll try this one. We're getting a little closer to the scary part.
The top.
That one was really good. It's like vegetable-y, almost traditional pepper flavor. It's almost, it has a little bit of a sweetness to it, but it's not a sweetness like you would get from fruit. It's the sweetness like you would get from sugar snap peas, green beans off the vine.
And see, I've tried these already, a couple of them, small ones, and they had heat to them. Not a terrible amount of heat, but enough to burn my mouth a little bit. Might have to go up higher to get the heat, but
that is bizarre. That one, I can feel it threatening heat, so I'm guessing that it is up high. Let me go ahead and do this right here. Okay.
you're gonna do
Got the
seeds and all.
placenta, got the seeds. This is where the heat is. Really need to find out because this actually tastes really, really good.
It's super sweet, and it has a good flavor. Doesn't have a bad flavor.
There's the heat. So it is all in the placenta and the seeds, and that's true with a lot of peppers. Usually you can get a good chunk of the heat still in the pepper without the placenta and seeds. This one is like completely removed, which another one, the cherry bomb that we've tried recently, really felt the same way. I don't think it was the smaller ones are hotter necessarily.
Just think it's up higher on the pepper.
Yeah, higher on the pepper. And I'll have to give this one a try too in the future to see if the underripe ones, because we had all ripe ones out there because they've been out there for a minute. Not too bad on the seeds, a good little chunk of seeds up near the rim of it there.
Yeah.
This has a good traditional kind of like pungent pepper flavor.
Oh yeah.
If I was to compare it to any flavor, to me, this is a lot like,
That
what would you
part
call it?
definitely had the spice.
That part had the spice?
Yep.
This one is closest to comparison in the flavor of the cherry bomb, especially since you can scrape it out. But you can tell that the Oda, being a sweet pepper with no heat, has really, really dumbed down.
Oh yeah, it's not
the
super
other
bad.
one.
It's actually, it's not a super heavy heat on it. It's hits you at first, and
No, we went
not bad.
with no milk and stuff.
yeah, it's not bad at all.
So, like a pretty good pepper. It's got a traditional flavor and stuff. Like I was saying, this isn't going to be like a normal review. We grow things to see something unique, and having crosses in our yard is sometimes the best way to see something I've never seen before. And this was one that just kind of made it in at the last second. So I know this might be a little bit of a longer video, but I really wanted to explain the difference in generations of crosses like that, so I could explain what we were looking at here. Really impressed. I'd like to save a bunch of these. I probably will just take the rest of these and put them in a bigger container so that they can dry, because I think I have a suspicion that this will make a pretty good crushed red pepper powder. These ones right here seem a little bit harder and thinner walled, but they're not bad little peppers. They're just, you know, I'd have to grow them out. Once you grow them out, the F3 might not even look as close to this as I would like, because there still can be variations.
Yeah, this doesn't have any heat at all, and not even up high. No heat.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and open these ones up here and pull seeds out of them and put some more of these here to dry and give that a go. So I know that this video is already probably almost 20 minutes, so I'm going to take you outside, show you one last look at the plant, and really excited. This is the cross between the Filius Blue and the Oda. We're calling it the Odius Blue. These ones right here have an ugly color, so right when I saw them, I was like, heck no, I don't want those in the yard. I'm a sucker for nostalgia or fancy names or fancy colors on plants and stuff like that, and I was thinking that these ones just look too dull and boring, so not quite sure if I'd grow these ones again. They had an excellent flavor though, and I was really surprised at the flavor on this. So for a flavor like that to stand out enough that I would want to grow it again, it takes a little more than just unique or a name for me to grow something. Super, super unique. Thought that was really cool. And take you outside one last look, the Odius Blue, Sunset, and Cherry. Love you guys. Catch you again. All right, August 6th of 2024, and the Odius Blue. This is one plant. We kind of had to prop it up a while ago. It doesn't need these in here anymore though. But yeah, look at that color. There's one right there that's under. It's really just dull and not bright or flashy or anything stand out. The purple's dull. It's kind of like got a puke green on one side. I was looking at those and I was thinking those are ugly. But then I saw the cherry ones and I thought that those were really cool. So Wasn't expecting this one to make the yard. The Odius Blue Sunset and Cherry F2 varieties of the Filius Blue and Oda. Love you guys, and super excited. A pretty good traditional flavor to that one. Not a lot of spice. I would even give that one to kiddos. So anybody that might be into low heat and stuff like that. Sorry about that. I don't know where you'd find the seeds, but because they're only here really, but we try to grow as many unique things as we can to see something interesting in the yard, and super happy that one made it. So definitely worth a regrow over here, as we have finally passed the F2 generation on it, and see it again in the future. Love you guys. Catch you next time. UT Angel and Kiddo. Thanks for watching.